We're live. How's it going, everybody? Mr. Holton here. How you guys doing? We're back. It's another Friday. Woohoo! It's time to talk about some theories. And another thing, which I haven't really paid much attention to, but we're gonna talk about it. Fletcher, looking forward to hearing Mr. H's opinions on the latest casting news rumors. Exactly, that's what we're gonna go over today as well. I think we're gonna start with that, because I haven't talked about it yet. Travis, how you doing? Welcome, man. You're playing Dying Like the Beast. I want to try that, actually. I want to get into that. Jasper, how you doing? Alex, Toaster, Naboo, Phil, how you doing? Lils, what's up, man? Smart Smarties, how you doing? Anime Gamers, Anime 4 Gamers, good morning. Killmonger, how you doing? It's Saturday for me. Oh, man. You're way ahead of us. You're time traveling, Angelus. Let's get into it right away, guys. Let's pop over to the news. I don't know if we can call this news though, because it's a rumor, supposedly. We'll see. Where is it? There we go. Casting calls for Amazon's Mass Effect series have reportedly leaked. Oh my goodness. It was some guy on Patreon who apparently had it on his Patreon. I can't access it because you need to be a paid Patreon supporter. But somebody here in Reddit told us what's going on here. Hey Zeep, hey, I loved your recent Shepard speculation vid. It's totally plausible. I think so too. Thank you for the support. I'm glad you are enjoying the content. Would you agree that Expanse and Exodus being good will only help make Mass Effect better? Maybe not better, but it could give some more life. It could breathe some more life into the, into the franchise. It's all on BioWare really to make a really good game. But could definitely help with like putting the sci-fi RPG. Get that juice in his back again. I think that, yeah, it's definitely gonna help with that. Like, we could really start digging out that, real sci-fi RPG, like the whole potential, like it's so huge in this type of niche, and I don't think anyone has really filled it after Mass Effect, and so I think this is really like the time to make these kinds of games. They're definitely like the Exodus team. They're definitely going all in, or I would say that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are definitely going all in on making it like a sci-fi D&D kind of, a sci-fi themed D&D. So, hopefully it turns out well. Anyone but Pedro Pascal as Shepard? I don't think we're in the danger zone of that. I like Pedro, man, but yeah, it's, seeing him and everything, it does get a little bit, okay, it's getting a little bit repetitive, but he's a good actor, so hey, what can you say? So apparently, according to insider Daniel Richtman, several casting calls for the upcoming Mass Effect Amazon series have allegedly leaked. Here's what's being reported. So they apparently want a male from 30 to 39, young Colin Farrell type, open ethnicity. That kind of sounds like me. I'm gonna be real with you guys. That's my age bracket right there. Can't you guys see it? This floppy hairstyle and this ruggedly Swedish looks, or not even good looks, but just rugged Swedish looks. I would be perfect for Shepard. The thing is, we don't know if it's going to be like Shepard here, but I would assume as much, because if the male, like if the lead is like a 30 to 39-year-old male, I mean, Sydney Sweeney as Liara, oh my god. You horny bonkers. Jesus. Sydney Sweeney. Like, I'm gonna be real, I don't really know her as an actress. I haven't seen her in anything other than like the Spider-Man weirdo movie. What do you like the Madame Web movie? I haven't even seen it, but like all I know is that she has a certain strength. But the female co-lead they want here is 34 to 39 years old, alien character requiring prosthetics. That is obviously Liara Tassoni. It just has to be, because prosthetics, I wouldn't say that's Tally. That's definitely Liara. Female 30 to 49, a human providing a parallel narrative from Earth. Now that's an odd one. Are they trying to tell us that they're gonna do sibling Shepherd? I mean, if they do, I would be fine with that, you know, because that means that they're looking at like what the fan community and what people are saying online, because it's really started like as a you know, fan thing, you know, the idea of having female and male shepherds like as siblings. That could be cool. Parallel Earth narrative must be a secondary story taking place on Earth, which we never saw much in the trilogy. Yeah, like it could be like a completely different character altogether. It might be like they're going with like default male shepherd, and then this character is somebody entirely new that we haven't seen before. But I wonder how that would work, because that would remove a lot of the focus on Shepard's adventures. But on the same time, it's kind of like that Game of Thrones thing where you have like where you follow what's happening in Westeros, and then you're following what happens like with Daenerys and all that. So I mean, and apparently the showrunner has said that he is definitely like, he can see Mass Effect like as Game of Thrones in space. He's not the only one. It was also Michael Tucker from Lessons from the Screenplay who talked about it like it, you know, being being a potential sort of Game of Thrones drama in space. And I could agree, just hopefully they can end it better. We have a male villain lead, Doug Jones type, and I didn't know who Doug Jones was, so I looked him up, and it's this guy. And he apparently plays a lot of various villains, especially like in Guillermo del Toro's movies. So this is from Pan's Labyrinth, and he apparently plays these two. And a bunch of other, like the Silver Surfer back in the good old days, appears to be Dracula. That guy again, Guillermo del Toro's, what's it called? Hellboy, right? He plays a lot of cool characters. But they're not saying that this guy in particular, but somebody like this guy, apparently, that like resembles him in some way. And then we have a male 30 to 49 wrestler type soldier. That to me obviously sounds like James Vega. That's obviously James. Could be somebody else, but like wrestler type soldier, that's, I mean, come on. I wonder what background they will give Shep. Probably Earthborn. I think that's the most common one. Rachel Brosnahan as Miranda Lawson. I would not be opposed to that, actually. I would not be opposed to that. She actually kind of looks the part. A little bit. Maybe Rex? Possible. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how they're gonna do, like, the Krogan, though. Like, that's a lot of makeup. That's a lot of prosthetics. Unlike they do, like, animatronics, but I don't know, you know. In any case, I was thinking here, okay, who could play James Vega? And there's actually this website I didn't know about before that actually pulls up examples. I don't know why these appeared. I think it's, I think it's a fan cast or something. So we have Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Tom Hardy, Carl Urban, Hugh Jackman. I don't know. These are just the most famous male actors in Hollywood currently. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't really feel like any of these guys really fit. Like, not even Henry. He is not a James Vega. John Cena is the only guy that is in that age bracket, you know, that could play James Vega. But then again, it's like, he doesn't look like a James Vega, if you get my meaning. Dave Bautista is apparently too old at this point. He is older than the age bracket they're asking for, and it's like, okay, what? Who else do they have? Yeah, I think he's too old, unfortunately. I like Dave Bautista, I like Jason Momoa, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Cena would make a decent Vega, maybe Dominic Purcell. No, Dominic Purcell, not sure. Who is not too old is shaking my head. True. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I don't know, man. This one is a hard one, but it's not necessarily the most important casting choice, if you guys don't mind me saying. I think definitely the leads here are going to be the most important ones that you really do think about, but you know, side characters are also important, of course. Can you search Henry Cavill in Tudors with that buzz cut? Oh, I'm kind of worried of searching up the Tudors because I know that it has a lot of you know, sexy stuff, so don't want to get this video demonetized. Just a fan's wet a dream, but they don't fit at all. Lol. True. No, like none of these really do. So it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully they find some interesting new actors for sure. Again, like as much as I like these guys, like they're all talented actors, I just don't see any of them. Really, I can't think of any actor really who could fill in the void, like who James Vega is supposed to be, or even like Shepard, because it's so difficult to pull that off. Like they really should just go with a new protagonist altogether. Score and Lock, how about we don't make a TV show and do an animation instead? That way we can bring the original voices back. Yes, I would probably prefer like animation, because it's becoming like one of the most popular media or mediums to tell a story. I mean, what the hell were those numbers for that pop Korean pop star Demon Hunters? What, I don't remember what it's called, but we saw it, me and my girlfriend, and you know, it's actually pretty, you know, I'm not big on this type of animation, but I was like, okay, that's pretty good. I kind of get the hype for all the kids out there who's watched it, and it completely exploded. So I mean, we have fucking Arcane. There's a lot of stuff coming out now that is really well animated, that do some really good stories. So I could see that. It was amazing. Linnea down here going, K-pop Demon Hunters. Oh. But not gonna lie, you know, it was pretty all right. I would have loved to play a young Anderson. Simeon Washington, really? Are you an actor? Are you a famous actor? Do you have the acting chops to pull it off? Devil May Cry, true. The new Predator anime. Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. I kind of want to check that out. But like, this could still work. It's just much harder to pull this off, considering it's live action. And I've talked about this before. I would prefer if they just went with the, you know, First Contact war, but it feels like, looking at this, if this is accurate and true, according to Daniel Richtman, then, well, I guess we're getting probably Shepard. And, you know, I'm happy on one hand, but I'm also kind of, how are they gonna do this, man? How are they not gonna upset people? They're definitely gonna upset people. Like, there's no way that they're not. I wish the Emmy TV series is about the First Contact war, about a younger Anderson and Hackett. Yeah, Gaida, look at this. We're on the same page here. That's something I've been talking about for years, man. Why don't they ever listen to me? I don't think they do at all. I don't even think anybody from BioWare watches my videos, so I'm gonna be frank with you guys. I think you guys are probably the only ones that actually watches my stuff. Which is strangely comforting, when you think about it, because it means that they're free to do their own thing. They're not controlled by the fan and narrative, but it's also like, hey, we do have some good suggestions over here, and not necessarily me that's putting up these suggestions, but a lot of you guys give out some really cool, like, I could see this happening. So yeah, Jason, how you doing? I'm late, but they will do this with a flashy light and CGI. There's gonna be a lot of CGI for sure. There has to be. Don't worry, we got you covered. Nah, I don't know, man. Well, thank you for having me covered, but I don't think those companies will hear us, unfortunately. But, you know, that's a good thing. Let them do their thing, and we're just gonna sit here being like, what can you guys cook up, right? Because I don't want to, you know, even, let's say if I, like, had this amazing, like, huge, you know, influence over Mass Effect fans, I don't think I would even want them to be like, okay, so what should we do? Because that kind of ruins it, you know? You do want them to do their thing. I don't want to like control some narrative or like tell them what to do or something like that. But it would be nice, you know, if they do look at some things that people are saying online and being like, yeah, you know, that's not a bad idea, because a lot of good stuff has come out of fan ideas. Angela's with the Ensven veteran. Welcome to the Ensven squad again. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Wrestler type soldier is Garrus or Rex. You think? I still think it's Vega. Prosthetics. I see where this is going already. Oh, really? Oh, there we go. Let them F it up so we have something to bitch about for another 5 years until ME5. Good point, Normandy. That's pretty... you know, either way, it's gonna be entertainment in its own right, you know, unless things get way too spicy, you know. But criticizing something can sometimes be, you know, an interesting way to spend your time. But I really hope they pull this off. I really do. Like, I hope this becomes something really, really great. I do want to point out this young Colin Farrell type again. And well, I mean, you know, okay, so like this, right? Oh, I'm really in the way here. Okay, so this is essentially what the casting call is looking for, like a young Colin Farrell. And I could see it if you shave, like if you completely give him a buzz cut, but obviously it needs to be somebody of this age, because Colin Farrell is, well, what is he now, 50 or something? So it wouldn't work, but somebody that looks like this, he's a good actor. You know what? I actually think he could still pull it off. Somebody brought this up. Yeah, I could pull off a Colin Farrell type because he plays the Penguin. In case you guys didn't know, and well, the Penguin, right? It's called that. That's the worst quogish I ever heard. God, I love that accent. It's so hilarious. We're getting the Rings of Power treatment. Will probably be 100% unwatchable. Don't get your hopes up. I don't know, man. Like, it sounds like I've looked up some of the stuff that the showrunner has said, and he seems remarkably prepared. Like, he seems to know basically everything there is to know about Mass Effect. So, I mean, he seems like a gamer. He sounds like somebody. He's actually, you know, he's played the source material, which wasn't that one of the issues with the Rings of Power, is that some of them had not read or watched the movie. I don't remember, but it was something. Maybe it wasn't Rings of Power. It was something else, maybe, where they hadn't done the like source material first. Was that Halo? Maybe that was Halo. Yeah, that was Halo. They hadn't played the games in Halo. They need a Munchkin. Say what? He's a bit older than what they want, but I want Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer. Oh, Sam. Let's see here. Sam Witwer. He could work, but Does he have... Yes, he does have a small beard. Or, well, he can get a small beard if he wants to. But we don't have any actual, like, pictures of him today, do we? That we can look at here? Because these are all, like, young shots of him. I mean, he has the facial structure. He has some pretty sharp jaws. Talking about the glyph, I was the dude that brought up the possibility of glyph being Liara's Geth bodyguard. Oh, you were? Well, welcome. Yeah, I couldn't find who it was that suggested that. What about John Bernthal? No. I don't know. I like him, but I don't see it. He's too hard, you know? I love him as Punisher. He's fucking amazing. But for Shepard, you kind of want somebody who can be in that neutral space while also being intense. So Sam Witwer could work, but John Bernthal, he's always intense. He's a very lore-friendly actor, and he seems to know what the hell he's talking about, because he seems to be like an utter complete nerd, right? A gamer, big Star Wars fan, big sci-fi fan, big fantasy fan altogether. He's one of us. He's one of us, guys. So he could work. So they go with male ship, like for the default male ship look. Unsure, but I'm getting that feeling, you know, young Colin Farrell type. So who knows? Who knows? We'll see, I guess. Just use Mr. Mir. Again. Here's the thing. I absolutely love this guy. He is the coolest. He is a badass voice actor. And he's incredible. But as Commander Shepard, the physicality of him, it doesn't really scream Mark Meer. Not really. More like young Brad Pitt, maybe somebody like that. Yes, it needs to be somebody with an extremely strong jaw. I'm just saying. So it couldn't be me, and I don't think it could be Mark Meer either. I love him though. Love you to death, Mark. If you see this, okay, don't be mad at me for saying it. The perfect voice, but physicality is like, I mean, you see right here. There's a very clear, distinct difference. But then you can also say, but hey, they're maybe gonna go for the custom Shepard, but that wouldn't make sense because the default look of Shepard is this. This is what what a lot of people go with when they just don't want to, you know, customize their character. What's Zit Toya? How you doing? And thank you for the $10. Appreciate it. Listen up. I think Shepard will be resurrected by Liara with the Reaper tech, similar to what happened to the Elusive Man in ME3. I'm gonna go ahead and call it the Sheepa Repper theory. Thank you for doing a little bit of a segue here. That's very nice. So we can go back to talking about some theories about the actual game here. I am excited for the show. We can still talk about that, but you know, we don't know if this could be like if this is actually like a leak or if it's just rumors. It's still hard to say. Like, I can't find any confirmation that it's actually true that this is a leak. So, you know, we're gonna take with this a grain of salt. But that kind of, you know, your theory here is essentially kind of like the one that I proposed about the Geth. But I mean, yeah. They could just, they could just do the what they did in Mass Effect 2, essentially. But yes, with Reaper tech. What I want to talk about, and you know, that could happen. Like, that actually makes sense. But I do wonder, would that still affect Shepard? And I kind of want to segue into this, right? Because that's what I'm going to cover in my next video. You know, the possibility, and here's a little tease, that the Reapers might actually still be alive somehow, okay? And it's not in the like purely physical sense, the physical presence of a walking Reaper, like not a, you know, oh, the Reapers are back as a villain. I don't think so, but it could still be a thing where the Reapers, okay, I'm gonna show you guys. We've talked about this before. I just want to make it clear so you guys follow me on this, okay? Follow me. We know that they're back in terms of scrap. We know that they're laying around. They're apparently destroyed. You know, we don't know how far that reaches in that, oh, did they pick destroy as the canon ending? Or are these just destroyed Reapers from when the war was raging, right? And so, obviously, if this is going to be set after the Reaper War, there's bound to be people that want to use Reaper technology left after the war to, you know, evolve, things like that. Here's the question. As far as I know, we never get a confirmation from the Catalyst or the Leviathans that the indoctrination is because of the Catalyst. So now that the Catalyst is gone, can the Reaper still indoctrinate? I think we talked about this on last stream. Can they still indoctrinate despite being dead? We know that they can from Mass Effect 2, you know, when you go board the Dead Reaper, right, to get the IFF. But that had a running Mass Effect core. Was it because of the Mass Effect core, or is it the material that the Reaper is made out of, which we know is like a mix of organic and synthetic material? So can the scrap metal, if you held a Reaper part in your hand, just the scrap, can it still indoctrinate you, or is that because of the Mass Effect core? Or was it because of the Catalyst? Interesting, huh? Interesting, huh? That is a good question. Yes. Can anybody here please provide me with like a source here? Because I can't find any information about it actually being confirmed that it was like a signal from the Catalyst. Probably not, because their corpse and network got sterilized. True. But what if, like we proposed before, what if the Catalyst was wrong? You know, it didn't affect the destruction of the Reapers like in the way we think it would. Perhaps the Reapers develop sentience much like the Geth, or perhaps because of the Geth that the Reapers also follow suit. Maybe that's also brings us to another question. Let's say that some Reapers survived the blast. The Catalyst is now gone. What does that mean for the Reapers? If a Reaper survived, would that mean that it's now free? Or that its mind was destroyed? Because apparently the Catalyst was also like the collective consciousness of the Reapers, but at the same time, it was the boss of the Reapers. So if that intelligence is now gone, and according to Sovereign, they are all each a nation, and independent, free of all weakness, then they should, by all intents and purposes, be free if there is any Reaper alive after the Catalyst dies. Right? Right? I know we're just having fun here, but they really need to move on from the Reapers. Andromeda, as much as I didn't like it, opened up some interesting doors, in my humble opinion. How dare you have an opinion, face man? That's not what we do here. It's my opinion only. Kidding. No, true. Like, for me, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. As long as they can do a good story with a new threat or a new situation that's interesting enough, it doesn't really matter to me. But you still have to ponder the question, because when you look at, here's the thing, right? I understand you, Faceman. I get where you're coming from. In a way, I agree with you. The problem is that the Reapers, when you think about the world building of Mass Effect, they represent such a ginormous presence that just, oh, we moved on from the Reapers like this, just because you want something new. Hold on. The galaxy, the entire technology of Mass Effect is based on Reaper technology. Everything in the galaxy is essentially based on their technology. So you can't really just move on from them, because they represent essentially the entire structure of Mass Effect, the technology, like the mass relays, how everything worked, because they're obviously going to use mass relays again, right? We're coming back to mass relays. We know that this one is here. This is a relay, and that is based on Reaper technology. Like, it's all of it is built around the blueprints from the Reapers, so you can't really just leave them. You have to look at, okay, what did they mean? So let's say this thing with indoctrination. They could just, if like you say, they could just hand wave it and say, oh yeah, no, the Destroy Blast just removed the Reapers altogether and their presence. But that still leaves the idea of like, okay, but Reaper tech, what do you do with all the Reapers laying around? Do you just also, to me, that feels like when you do that and you just, neatly, shove them under the rug like that, it kind of ruins the world building for me. I need to have an explanation for, okay, but how did you do that? Why? Didn't anybody want to like harvest Reaper materials? Did everybody just collectively agree that no, that's not good? Weren't there even factions? There's gotta be. When you think about it logically, to make it make sense, it doesn't make sense that they would just leave it as is. Because then you're ignoring the framework around the entire franchise, is what I'm trying to say here. Sorry for the very long. Oh, Faceman, thank you for the $20, man. I appreciate it. Jesus, why are you so generous? Thank you. When I say move on, I don't mean totally ignore their impact. I mean, move on from them still being the big bad. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Sorry for fucking waterboarding you there. But yes, moving on from them as a big bad, I would agree. I don't want them back as villains again. I'm sorry for saying this, guys, I'm a big sucker for redemption arcs. I don't think the Reapers can ever like have a redemption arc, because they're not like individuals in that manner where you're like, oh, they had a tragic arc. Well, their arc, or well, their story is pretty fucking tragic. It's horrible. I mean, they're all melted down corpses of civilizations throughout millions of years. Like, their background is horrifying and very tragic. But I am a sucker for this idea of, but the villain becomes your friend, sort of. Not a friend, maybe, but something you can use with regards to the Reapers. Maybe you can, like, maybe not have a companion Reaper, but contact with a Reaper that, now that it's maybe free from the catalyst, if we assume that to be the case, could maybe help, try to stabilize the galaxy, something like that. I don't know. I just love stuff like that. I just love those like small, not redemption arcs, but you don't get rid of the villain altogether, but you have them as like a something. But it also has to be tasteful, because it can't be this weird, oh, Easter egg, because then it lessens the impact of what the Reapers represented. So it needs to be something that's still, okay, this means a lot to contact this thing right now, right? Jason with the $5, thank you so much for the generosity. The Reapers will be turned into cookies. It is simple. Bad joke done. What? Why? What if Cerberus is the main military faction for the humans, and Shepard has to fight for humans to get their humanity back due to Reaper tech messing with them? Maybe. I would say, Xander, actually, I'm more of the idea that Cerberus maybe. Yeah, I actually thought about this, this week, and I do think that Cerberus does kind of get old when you think about it, because I talked about that the last time, that a lot of people felt, I remember in the back of release of the release of Mass Effect 3, that people were like, oh, not Cerberus again. The Elusive Man was cool, as he always is, but that the faction of Cerberus was just getting old. And I don't know, I probably would, I could see them return somehow, but maybe not as the main villain, because that would be like, again, we're retracing old steps. So in that way, I would agree with Faceman that we are like retracing, oh, it's just the same old villain. So yeah, a big bad, it needs to be somebody new. That's my opinion. Gonna be sucking ass if this relay is just Andromeda teleports. Modny Talk on Twitch. I'm gonna be real. I would not love that idea. I have talked about that possibility before. I think on N7 Day when this got out. I think I talked about it then. I don't know what I would feel about that, to be completely honest. That would be kind of... but I don't think this is leading to Andromeda, though. As far as I, have thought about it, I don't think it does because of this right here. By the way, let's see. Marley Zoo, welcome. Hi, Mr. Rolton. It's been a minute since I've been here. My favorite Mass Effect specialist in the Citadel. Welcome, Marley Lizu. Appreciate the support. Thank you for the love. Okay, so here. Okay, look. Okay, look. Shit, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really shitty at this zooming in stuff. Okay, I'm gonna have it up here. Okay, so here. See? Right there. SA314. I don't think this leads to Andromeda, or it has a connection to Andromeda, because of this. Because of this. Right? Okay, so quick history lesson. 314, I think, can only be one thing as a reference, and that is to Relay 314, which was the relay, I think, placed in the First Contact War, where the First Contact War takes place in the same system. So Relay 314, I think, has to be the same system where the First Contact War took place. And I think it's mostly like a reference to First Contact. I think that's what they're trying to say with this. Like, they're trying to point at something about a first contact with something. That is my idea, but I don't know. I don't think the Mass Effect, I think the next Mass Effect won't have anything to do with the Reapers and Cerberus, but they will still be there as history. Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely going to be like references to both Cerberus and Reapers. There has to be, obviously. But yeah, as I said about what Faceman said before, they shouldn't be like the main villain. I don't think either of them should be, but they could return as factions. That could be cool. First contact with Ket Empire, Arlie Songbird. Possible. Don't know how I would feel about that, but true. Could be. But, oh man, guys, I don't know, man. I gotta be real. Again, like, it's something about their origins and their design. They're just so terribly boring. I just don't find them interesting as villains. Like, I have to feel this... mystery with my villains. I have to... It has to be interesting to me. Somehow it's just not. But if we are just going to discuss the possibility, sure. I mean, it's possible. It is, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I gotta ask you. Like, here I'm standing here just talking about what I want to see. What do you guys think? Like, yours are the voices that actually matter. I'm just one guy. Normandy, I hate to say it, but the whole universe and everything was built to serve this epic story with Reapers playing the main role in the story. The ultimate enemy. I don't think anything will work as good as them because the story wasn't meant to continue. You beat the Reapers, boom, control, weird green ending, go home. Pretty much. I think they ended off on such a huge, massive, galaxy-changing note because they weren't really, they weren't looking to continue. Obviously. So, but then again, I do still think it's possible for them to introduce something that is maybe not at the same heights as the Reapers, but they could definitely make it like in another twist, like more interesting. They can make it more personal, take for example, the Citadel DLC, right? With the Shepherd clone. That one wasn't so much about massive scale, like huge scales, galaxy spanning scales. That was more personal. That was like, even if it was a funny expansion, it was a lot of haha, goofy. But the idea in of itself was that Shepherd has someone like stealing their identity, and it turns out to be like an exact clone of Shepherd. And it becomes more personal, and I think that could actually probably work for an entire game. Not exactly like that, oh, it's a clone just taking your identity, but it could be a personal story that's more about, maybe the villain is what some of you had talked about before. Maybe it is this person. Maybe this isn't Shepherd. Maybe this is the villain of the game. And this person, this individual, does something, and you have to find them. You have to chase him down. The problem with control and synthesis is that the Reapers are still there and can help defend the Milky Way in case of external threats. Yes, that is the big problems with control and synthesis, is that the Reapers are still there and they're so overpowered that like there wouldn't really be, an external threat to the Milky Way wouldn't really be, well, maybe it would be possible. Maybe it would be, because then you would have to introduce a even bigger villain that's more like, existential in the form of like it consumes galaxies, like a Galactus type threat, essentially. Worse than that, and or dimensional sort of thing. But again, I think we risk going into the Marvel spectrum by doing that, because suddenly it's like, oh, we're going crazy cosmic. And I think, it's hard to keep that grounded in a way. Anime4Gamers with the $10. Thank you so much for the generosity. I just want the Dark Energy Crisis to come back. Me too. That was an interesting story they dropped. Really hope they continue in the new Mass Effect. That sounds like a bigger threat than the Reapers. See, that's the thing. I've talked about that before. I think a Dark Energy plot crisis could be really interesting, because they already sort of set it up in Mass Effect 2. Like, they've given the fans something to think about, and we've talked about it, and a lot of people have talked about it through the years, and it's like one of those plot threads that were like, oh, that had so much potential. But how do you fight that, though? Do you fight a villain that's trying to make it worse? That's trying to cause dark energy to destabilize across the galaxy? Or is it just, it's a fight against time and you have to find a way to stabilize the, dark energy destabilization somehow? What are our expectations for the next N7 day? That and welcome, man. There has to be at least a teaser. I am holding Michael and the Mass Effect team to that. No, I'm not really, I don't want to give you guys expectations because I honestly don't know. I don't talk with them, so I'm hoping there is something, because last year was Veilguard, right? And I think now it's time to start working towards hyping shit up again, I think it's time to maybe, because Michael, he retweeted something after the success of Expedition 33, like something about, you don't need over 100 individuals to make a great game. So he's definitely pointing at them being a smaller studio now, and they could still make a good game. So I would hope that they showcase some stuff and they say, oh, by the way, we're just this many people right now, because that, that would make, I think a lot of people would be like, oh yes, okay, less people. Sucks that a lot of people have been let go, unfortunately, but maybe it's true that this means that there's less, I guess, red tape, or not red tape, but it becomes easier to work with when you have like a smaller team, when you know what everybody's doing and everybody's doing something at all times and everybody's working towards the same goal, and they showcase something to make us go, oh shit, okay, that looks impressive, and they're not, they're still there, they still have a team that's working hard on it. And I think it's been enough time now after Veilguard, honestly, to where they feel like they could, like, yeah, let's go. Okay, let's start spinning it up, positively speaking. Let's get the hype train going. Zero Rules 99, thank you for the $5. Appreciate the generosity again. Leviathan cult using advanced AI technology and dark energy-based powers to manipulate the different races and take control of the galaxy. Boom. Boom. That's not terrible. I'll give you that. Leviathan, I could see that. Then again, though, we run into this problem of the Leviathan sort of we're retreading ground again, because we've already met them. We know all about them. Like, we know their origins, essentially. Well, not all origins, but we know what their philosophy is, like how they work. So I could see it happening, but I wonder if they're going to go that route, basically because there's no real mystery anymore with regards to the Leviathans. They could build up a mystery of it being like, okay, who could this be? Because we don't know. And then you find out later that it's the Leviathans, and then it's like, oh, for all the fans being like, oh shit, I had a feeling it was these guys. That could work, but I think it's safer to go with a new villain. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe it's safer to go with the Leviathans. What do you guys think? No Carpishin, no cosmic horror. That is something that I think about sometimes, because Drew seems to be really good at that shit. Cosmic horror. Making large scale ideas. And so, can they pull that off if they're gonna like introduce some form of cosmic horror into Mass Effect again? Because that made a lot of what the whole idea of the Reapers tick so well. Dekarovsky, my comments are invisible on YouTube live chat. Are they? Tea Party DLC with the Leviathan. Very nice idea. I love it. Rachni Queen is sus as hell. She got caught twice. I could see them returning, but they're probably not going to be the main villain. Like, again, I don't think that the main villain in Mass Effect would be anything that we've previously fought. It would probably be something like they could like return in various ways as like side objectives or as lore pieces, but maybe not as the main villains. Yo, Primal, it's getting close to my birth month. Happy birthday in advance. Is that how you say it? Okay, hold on. What if all the teasers and snippets we've gotten are all time skips? That could be true, yes. So what you're saying here is essentially that when we saw the first teaser trailer, that was maybe like the early part, and then we see this reveal, and this is later, and then we get to this part. which is the same, like, because at this point it would seem like that the galaxy has rebuilt, right? Because we have this bar right here that looks very modern and very, well, not modern, but you get it. Like, it seems like they're having a good time at this bar. Things seem to be fine again. Phase Man, yeah, I like the Leviathan, but they're too similar to the Reapers to be the next big bad, in my humble opinion. Both that they're similar, like too similar, but also that, well, there's nothing really new about them. That is the problem. You know, I like them as elements in the story, but I don't think they would work as a main villain because there's no real mystery anymore. I mean, for all the new people that look up, oh, what's the Leviathan then? They can just read everything on like the Wikipedia and they're like, oh, okay, well now I know. You know, you still want that element of surprise, that element of mystery, to where people keep like, okay, but I want to find out more. Okay, but what does that mean? Okay, what happened? Okay, so who are these like things? And I think that could possibly be a problem, that it kind of ruins the suspense a little. Link's Boxkid with the $10, thank you so much again. Appreciate it. Give us a new villain, but under the guise that it's Cerberus. Making it seem like the humans are nefarious. I love the Mass Effect talks. Love you being here. Appreciate the love. That is actually not a bad idea. I think we talked about that before. Again, this thing, it does have the Cerberus coloration. Let's be frank here. I mean, look at that. The black stripes and the orange, right? The orange yellow on white. Like, this is so obviously like Cerberus coloration that it's, yeah, I mean, look, just look at this MR7. I mean, it's so obvious, but I wonder, is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? Is it a good thing in the way that it might be Cerberus that has been like reformed, I guess, to a good faction, like an actual faction that works for the sake of all sentient races in the galaxy? Or is this like the Cerberus returning sort of like the Empire, you know, trying to craft their own like version of a Death Star? Isn't MR7 just Mass Relay 7? I think it is, but I think somebody said no at one point. I don't remember who it was. Dekarovsky, I know one thing, the main character's armor looks cool. Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure. But it looks more like a spy. This isn't so much a soldier, but I think also that like they teased about like this person being like an operative. So the game is probably going to be more like a spy-ish type game. I would say. I'm guessing that's the direction they're going with. It's not going to be this big galaxy-spanning war. It's probably going to be like a Spectre sort of investigation, or maybe you're not even playing a Spectre. Maybe you're just playing as an N7 agent. Scorpy Kiki, hello. Maybe Krogan start war. We see a trailer of Liara find part of N7. Maybe we play a shepherd's kid who hesitates. Who's trying to find mom and dad. Damn, that's an imagination. We actually talked about that theory before, possibly about playing a shepherd's kid. I just brought it up as a theory. It was pretty hilarious, like the fan reaction to it, like everybody talking about, you know, oh yeah, that's not gonna work, because then you're setting in stone that Liara was the romance or the romantic interest to Shepard as a canon choice, because you can't really work with it either, like in any other way. You could go with like, oh, but Ashley, oh, yeah, but then you're still like canonizing Shepard, so yeah, that wouldn't work. I don't think so, at least, but you know, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'm entirely wrong. Yeah, they're obvious Cerberus colors, and I kind of wish they'd move away from Cerberus. Yeah, I would say that if I had to pick one, I would probably pick the Reapers over Cerberus. But then again, as the Elusive Man does say, Cerberus is an idea. So... why wouldn't it be Mass Relay 7? The visual is clearly a mass accelerator. I'm gonna look that up because I have... Let's see here. Mass Effect teaser. Mass Relay 7. Somebody said... I don't know who it was, but it was somebody who said that no, that's apparently not it. No, I might be misremembering. I'm probably misremembering. No, that was Michael Gamble talking about like what the abbreviation for the next game would be, which would be ME. Meme, of course. He's just messing around, I think. So I was misremembering. That wasn't it. But yeah, that's probably Mass Relay 7. I think so. Maybe the option of Asari player would be their child when other races could have some other paths. Maybe. But then again, like it's... then it gets, you know... I think there's too much to do if you have various races you can pick from. So let's say that you have humans... you have Asari. Let's say that you want to go with Turians and Quarians. Maybe Salarians. I don't know. I think it's too much, honestly, for them to work with. But you know, maybe. Tally all day, man. Shepard adopted a kid. Theory saved. Don't thank me. That could work. just make Shepard adopt a kid. Again, it's so difficult. Like, how would you tastefully do that without having people screeching loudly like, this is not my Shepard. My Shepard is not a parent. I don't want no kids. I don't know, man. That's difficult to do, I think. Because you have to really think about the repercussions of doing anything. Especially with regards to Shepard. Like, how much will you canonize? And as we know, like, fan investment is much more important than I think a lot of people realized, especially with, like, Veilguard. Because if you look at what they did with the Veilguard, I think, and I don't really have any numbers for this, but just looking at it from an, like, above perspective, it seems like, because I do read a lot of comments, and I research, and I look around, and it's like, I think one of the problems that Veilguard made was not just the art style, but it felt so discontinued from the rest of the games that it felt like an entirely different franchise. It honestly did, even playing it. And so when you... And let's remember that they canonized certain things that happened in that, you know, Thetis was essentially entirely destroyed, so they don't have to, you know, they don't have to worry about anything, or they don't have to really reference anything. But they did canonize again, and it's like, okay, but how far do you go to where the identity of the game is lost, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not a fan of playing as Shepard's kid, whoever they are anyway. Nah, me neither. I think, again, like, it's one of those, okay, but then you're, because if you play as Shepard's kid, you're canonizing the idea that Shepard would want a kid. And if Shepard is supposed to be you as the player, then maybe that goes outside of what you thought your Shepard would do, and so you lose your connection a little bit with Shepard. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. You know, I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but I would prefer it's just a different character or just Shepard. Either or. Vaden with the 10 gifted men, thank you so much for the absolute amazing generosity, and welcome to everybody who got a membership. Thank you so much again, Vadim. The absolute specter. Thank you so much. Double use, by the way. Spam double use, please, guys, for Vadim. He earned it. Red Walrus with the 14 months. Appreciate the support, man. Maybe we see a conflict between Leviathans and Morthorians manipulating the galaxy into civil war or something. Maybe Dead Reaper indoctrination too. Yeah, there's a lot of elements here, man. It's fucking crazy. Guys, like, there is so much stuff that they could do. Let's actually just play around with the idea here, okay? So, we have this, right? So we have Reaper indoctrination. We have, possibly from the parts, we have a Leviathan, Thorian. What happened? Like, are there more Thorians? That was a cool element. What happened to that? Did that just die? What are those, the Shadow Broker race? Yogg? Beings of Light? Was that just a reference to Protheans and Reapers? What was that? There's a planet that literally talks about Beings of Light. What's, the Rachni? Krogan Rebellion again? Humanity being evil again? Virtual aliens? Now, the virtual aliens, in case you don't know, is actually like a canon thing that happens in Mass Effect. It's essentially a race of aliens that have uploaded their consciousness into their ship. So it's like a living ship, kind of like a Reaper, kind of not, because they've just uploaded their consciousnesses into like a virtual world where they live inside the ship. And they are found marooned because they can't go anywhere because their ship stopped functioning or something. And so the council sends a delegation, and there's this story about, you know, making contact with these virtual aliens. And then these virtual aliens, they borrow people's bodies in Mass Effect, and they switch places with the individual in question. So let's say that Liara has contact with a virtual alien. She can swap places so that it uses her body and she is in the ship, which is really cool. Who knows? Oh, Ralloy, I don't think they would necessarily be a threat because they ran away from the Reapers. I mean, doesn't really sound threatening to me. That just sounds like a bunch of scared chickens. Buck. Kind of like the Geth. Yeah, kind of like the Geth, but they were originally organic. The virtual aliens, that is. They did the soul exchange, essentially, but they still swap back afterwards. So they don't own the bodies. Ket are still a major threat. Possible. Then again, I will give the Ket one thing, and that is we haven't seen what the entirety of the Ket look like and what they really are. We know that the Archon, as far as I remember, in Mass Effect Andromeda, he kind of went rogue. So he did like Saren did. He like went rogue from the rest of the Ket Empire, and he was not the ruler. He was just, you know, one delegate or something, and so he's not the real leader behind the Ket. That is actually something else. So Who knows? If they could like give us a redesign of the cat, maybe make them a little bit more interesting as a threat, then maybe. See, my memory is not that bad, guys. I do remember that from Andromeda. I take my job seriously as a Mass Effect know-it-all, even it's from the game that I don't really necessarily love. Arc 5 is the Quarians, I think. Well, the Arc was solved. That was solved. So the Quarian Arc situation is done. They already solved that in a novel. The Inusanon are not completely dead, and their squid-like looks fit in with the cosmic horror and Lovecraft aspects. Maybe. Oh. Now that one I've actually talked about before. I don't know if you guys remember that video, but maybe we could see the return of the Prothean Empire. Because maybe Javik wasn't the last Prothean. Now, why do I say that? Because according to lore, according to Javik, the Prothean were not super nice. They were kind of assholes because they conquered every other race and essentially like enveloped every race into the Prothean Empire. So even if you were from another race, you were still considered a Prothean. But the true Protheans were your bosses, essentially. So, Prothean return, because they had an empire, they were pretty aggressive. Anomalies across space. Yeah, they do say that though, don't they? The Scourge? Maybe. But the Scourge, well, the Scourge is essentially the dark energy plot. It's just in Andromeda, in a way, kind of. Maybe not as a, you know, as of a like galaxy or universal scaling threat. But yeah, the Scourge, maybe. Oh, good. Ooh, we have, yeah. Well, again, this is a Andromeda thing, but the benefactor. Who the hell was the benefactor? That is one of those questions from Andromeda that I do feel like they should probably answer that just for the Andromeda fans, like in some way, again, like tastefully. So it's like, yeah, but who are they? What's the plan? What did they want? Vulcan, what's up, man? How you doing? Who says Javik was a true Prothean and not just one of the other races? Oh, good question. But doesn't Javik say that himself? I think he references that he's, you know, he's one of the primary Protheans. I don't know. I don't know, man. So many unanswered questions. Just look at this little list I've written here. Unanswered questions. What happened to all this? Do the Reapers still indoctrinate? Are the Leviathans gonna come back? Thorians? Are there more? What's going on with the Yogg? Are they gonna be, because they're super territorial and aggressive. I mean, they killed an entire delegation from the Citadel, right? When they tried to talk to them. Beings of Light, was that the Protheans or something else? The Rachni, what happened to them? Are they completely gone now? Krogan rebellions, because the Krogan, as we know, also very expansive species, does want to, multiply, and we know how that went. Virtual aliens, are they gonna make an appearance again? What does that mean? Was that just a small lore element? The Ralloi, we also didn't see them. They're an additional, bird-like species. And the Ket, of course, as much as not the biggest fan of them, but I could see them. They could probably make the Ket more interesting if they showed that the Ket that we saw in Andromeda was not really the true Ket. Something like that. Inusanon, which was the tentacle faces that you find on Ilos. Are they completely gone? Prothean Empire returns. That's one of my favorite theories. I like that idea. And the Benefactor, what happened there? Good evening, Alexander Butzi. What's up? Is Liara still blue? Is she still blue? Only squad mate I need is Edie. Same. I'm never gonna get over that, guys. I'm never gonna get over that. I cannot believe that BioWare would not make Edie a romantic interest. I will never forgive them. It's probably my biggest pet peeve with Mass Effect 3. And how they did not let me romance Edie. I think that was a huge missed opportunity. And I don't think I'm the only one, guys. I don't think so. I mean, look at this. Perfection. Mr. H would break Joker's crippled legs for Edie. Yes, and I would beat them over his head with it, or with his legs. I wonder if we will get substantial content this N7 day. I can't promise anything, but I hope so. I hope so, man. I'm just gonna have this here because I enjoy looking at it. I love the idea of a larger Yogg threat. I can see them come back. They're pretty cool. But what about Joker? He's done. He ain't even funny anymore. Well, he is. I'm not going to be like that. Seth Green did an amazing job as Joker. We could see him come back, I think. That could be cool. Asking the real questions, for sure. Koran Empire? I don't know, man. They're not, well, I was about to say that they're not the warmongering type. But looking at the history with the Geth, they kind of are. Have you seen some of the mods for Edie? No. No. I don't need no mods for not for Edie. That's fine. This body almost killed my boyfriend. Oh, damn. It did. Whoa. Arvo, something that's been bothering me for a while. Each harvest ends with the birth of a Reaper, but the Protheans became the collector. So what species of that cycle became a Reaper? Really good question. That's actually a really good question, because, I mean, the Prothean Empire was widespread. They should have been able to create a Reaper out of them. Maybe they didn't create a Reaper at all. Maybe it was sovereign, but it was of a secondary species? Very good question. Joker needs to become a narrator. I love how he explained how he saved the Citadel at the bar. Then Shep came up and was like, yep, he did that. He could definitely, like, Seth Green as, yeah, I could see that for sure. Like an older, grizzled version of Joker. But then he would still have to be alive, right? So in that case, they would have to set the game like pretty much like immediately after Mass Effect 3. Unless they're just doing the story time thing where he's just the voice that narrates things. That could also just work. I require more N7 content to speculate over. I need those 1 hour long deep audio and visual analysis videos. I haven't actually done one of those yet. The live streams have been pretty alright for like covering some theories and stuff like that, but the longer type videos that are like extended, where I do a lot of editing, I haven't done that yet. So hey, by the way, guys, and thank you so much for the support so far on the stream. If you haven't yet, you can also become a Patreon supporter, because I do want to refunnel some of that income into editing. So then maybe those types of videos, Griff Army here on Twitch, could become a reality, because then I could send this to an editor to work with, so I have more time writing the scripts and recording. Then I have to constantly edit it. So maybe that could become a reality. That's something I would really like to do. I would love to do large deep dives. It's just, it takes so much time and effort that it's just not time efficient, I guess, for me. But I'd love to do them. So Patreon, everybody. What would you want on N7 Day? Easily a trailer. At this point, I feel like we've gone long enough to where we need to have some moving footage. Well, we got that in 2023 for sure with this character, this N7 character. But I still feel like, yeah, okay, but we need something that's more substantive, something that shows us that this game is actually getting made. I think the problem here is that they kind of announced it, well, maybe not too early, but it's like a double-edged sword, because they announced it because they obviously want to hire new people and get people hyped, and you know, because they announced that they could start working and hiring more people so that they could start working on it for real. But it's also created this expectation where we are expecting at least some form of life sign. So I think at this point they probably should know that they need to come up with something interesting. They don't need to, really. Like, when you look at it from like a company perspective, they don't need to do anything, but it would build a lot of goodwill, and I think they need to keep building goodwill with the community, especially after last year. So I'm expecting at least like a trailer, like something like that, because not having anything like that, I think would be like, yeah, okay, but is this even a, like, it's gonna kill a lot of excitement for a lot of people. And that already sort of happened last year because they decided to focus on Veilguard, which, like, I think is understandable considering it was the game they needed to focus on then. But at this point, they really need to spin it around, like, you know, get it positive again. Get the talks positive. Patricia, hey, how you doing? Welcome. You don't do Patreon? Sorry, I won't. Okay, Mystic, that's fine. Thank you. Appreciate it, though. Appreciate the honesty. Do you know about the Listeni? They're a Solarian subspecies that was cut from ME1. There was supposed to be a DLC plotline with the Hanar and Listeni having a conflict. I have heard about them, but I haven't really looked into them that much. But yeah, you're probably right there. Solarian subspecies. It's one of those things that I don't think I found super interesting, mainly because they're a subspecies. But yeah, that could be one of the things we actually see now that you say it. I don't know who it was that brought that up, but in this shot, there is what looks like a weird Solarian. So that could absolutely be a Listeni. And I would not be entirely against, like, seeing new forms of Solarians. I understand maybe next N7A will give us more substance to theorize over and analyze, keeps us busy for a bit longer, for sure. Then we also have Exodus, you know, and Expanse. 2 games that are obviously going to be somewhat similar. So you guys see this guy over here? That looks like a tall-ass Solarian. Thank you, Primal. Appreciate it. Blasto, for sure. Venom Hex. This is my last hope for Bioware, though. I think most of us are on the same page about that. Yeah. I don't think necessarily most would disagree with you. I think most of us are like, yeah. You know, this is it. This is it. This is the big one. You know, hopefully. This guy. That's a Solarian for sure. Could be a new alien in general? Probably, yeah. Turian and Solarian hybrid? Possible. Vulcan, the Steam for ME is extremely low. They need to drop the new trailer ASAP. I mean, kind of. I don't think that the Steam for it is low. I just think that everybody's like sitting on needles and just, come on. Because I noticed with a lot of you guys watching the channel right now, a lot of you are just interested in talking about Mass Effect, about watching the videos, and I was actually surprised seeing so many people come back and like, oh yeah, I want more Mass Effect content, even if I've covered some of these theories before. It's like, I think the fire is definitely still there. There is a lot of passionate people out here, but like we're just, you know, I think that is the general feel right now, is that we're all trying to like not get too hopeful, because sometimes you do get disappointed. But I think it's one of those, you know, at the same time, I'm like, I think we need to hype it up a little bit, you know? That's something that I wonder if maybe, because that's something I heard from a previous, I don't know if a lot of you guys know about Captain Kuba, but he made a lot of videos about God of War. He was pretty popular back with God of War when Ragnarok got out, before that. And I watched his interview with Cory Barlog and some of the people that made God of War. And they said that absolutely they do watch his videos, and his videos and his fans' comments, discussions, yada yada, made them very excited. Not that they could like guess what was going on, but because the discussions themselves made them fired up. So they wanted to go to work because it was fun reading all the reactions and what people talked about online, especially like YouTube videos and comments. And so I think a part of me do wonder if this entire cycle of us talking, maybe, you know, either live streaming or when you guys comment on like either my videos or Kala's videos or Paragon's videos or any other Mass Effect related video, like it creates a certain buzz. And when creators and when people start talking, being like excited about something, I think that does a lot for some dev teams, because they're like, oh yes, this feeds us, you know, this makes us happy seeing people being happy about it. We already know that Jennifer Hale did a voice thing for It's Just a Matter of When We See It. Well, was that confirmed to be for Mass Effect though? Silent supporting Mass Effect supports us, supports Mass Effect. It's a circle of goodwill. Yes, pretty much. It's a circle of, yeah. I think that's pretty much everything really though. Like it's a circle of goodwill, you know? Being excited for something. Yes, I know, you know, it can suck when you're disappointed and you don't get the thing that you want, especially with like launches, with games that aren't necessarily what you thought it would be, or that aren't up to the par where you thought it would be. But again, I mentioned this on last stream. I think we're in a period of time where I'm getting too old, personally speaking, to not be excited for stuff. Like, if I just go around worrying and thinking that, oh, it's gonna suck, this is gonna be shit, I'm not looking forward to it, I mean, that's not a good way to live life. Just generally speaking, if you have something that you're passionate about and that you do feel like you want to be excited for, then just let yourself be excited for it. I mean, a lot of the time, these moments are the most fun parts. These are the moments that you live for, you know, when you're having fun, when you're talking about it. Primal, I would really like to see what's new for Mass Effect because I actually started to stream with my stepfather with Mass Effect Legendary Edition, so it holds a special spot in my heart. Oh, that's a good man right there. Man, you started your stream with your stepfather. That's pretty cool. Playing Mass Effect with one of your parents. That's cool. That is actually cool. Griff Army, I'm actually pretty excited for the next Emmy game. Might be a little bit over optimistic, but I'm not ready to throw in the towel just yet. And the same here, you know. I try to look at it from the perspective of even if it does suck, because I am open to the possibility that it's gonna suck ass, but I don't want to expect it to. I don't want to be that, you know, oh, I don't want to be prepared for that. I want to prepare for the best. Because I expect more. I expect better. So that's partly it too. I hope they don't butcher it like they did with the Halo series. You mean the games? I don't know if they butchered the games of Halo, man. I haven't... I don't have that deep dive information about the Halo games particularly. The show is one thing though. I can agree with that. Oh, the TV show. Okay. Well, if you watched my reactions to the episodes back in the day, then you probably know how I didn't love it. I did not love it. I didn't. So yes, my hope is that they don't butcher the Mass Effect show. Xander, Hilton, please stream the trilogy for the one time I will throw money your way. Okay then. Okay then. We will. We could actually start playing the Mass Effect trilogy again next week. I could start off doing it either, I don't know, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What works for you guys? If you want a Monday stream, we could do that. We could just keep doing these Friday, you know, theory streams as well. But I also gotta get time enough to make my videos, and I want to focus on that primarily. But yeah, we could do that again. With ED mods? Oh, no. Well, unless it's too much. If it's not too much, then maybe. Then you guys got to make sure to become members on Patreon again, because that episode, in that case, will be absolutely age restricted and demonetized instantly. Which means I could probably upload that on, like, Patreon. I love Friday ones. Yay. Yay. That's today. Isn't it Friday today? Did I pick the wrong day? Do multiple romance mods. God. You thirsty, guys. Jesus. EGM for Mass Effect 3. What's that again? Is that the Extended Galaxy mod? Did I cover that before? I think I did. Hey, Mystic. Love you too. Hey, Xander, appreciate it. But I can't promise anything. We'll see next week. See how it works with times, because if I can get it to work on either Monday or Wednesday or something like that, we'll probably start it up again. Greatest Mass Effect mod ever. There are a lot of really cool Mass Effect mods, for sure. But I'm wondering, should I start with 1, 2, or 3? Because I think I stopped last time midway because I got too busy. With 2. Something, maybe Mass Effect 3 right off the bat? Or Mass Effect 1? I don't know, man. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. But yeah, this is going to be the live stream for today. I need to go. I need to go get something to eat. I need to cook for my my little family. And I need to wake up very, very early tomorrow. So I'm going to be off for today, guys. Thank you for the nice chat here, and thank you for the support so far. You guys are amazing. I appreciate it so much. But hey, again, the final time, if you do want more videos, longer videos, extra content, Patreon. I'm gonna copy paste it right here. Let's see. Where is it? There we go. In case you didn't get the link, here it is. There you go. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye. Take care of yourselves.